Go. Powered by Riverside.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ant and CJ show. This is our newest episode. We are on episode 7 already. Time is fucking flying. CJ, what is good? How are you?
It has been a rough couple of days, bro. We'll get into it, but it has been a rough couple of days.
Well,
how you doing?
Chilling. You know how it is. You know how I do.
Are we gonna jump straight into this thing?
Oh, man. I called it. You denied that it would happen. You denied that I was speaking the truth. And your boy has tapped out.
This is the worst thing that has happened in hip hop since Biggie got killed.
So for those of you who are a little bit lost right now, I am referring to the fact that after releasing his quote unquote response, which I deem a warning shot, which wasn't really a warning, but after releasing a song called 7 Minute Drill, which was only 3 minutes long for starters, in response to Kendrick Lamar's statements on his song with Future, J. Cole has gone on stage and repented of his sins in releasing this track, has stated that he's removing it from all media platforms and all streaming platforms, and said that he shouldn't have released it at all. He shouldn't have responded because at the end of the day, K. Dot is his brother. And if he wants to talk about it and he wants to take it out on him, then he puts his chin out in the clear because he has to take it like he dealt it. What are your thoughts on this, bro? I told you this was not going anywhere.
This is a tragic day for hip hop. This is a tragic day. I don't know who it is that is qualified to read J. Cole's eulogy. I certainly can't do it here because I know I'm not qualified to read his eulogy. But J. Cole, as we know him, is dead. J. Cole been on the hottest run of his life.
You really
J.
think
Cole,
so?
yeah. Oh, his feature run for the last couple of years, everything that he has put out recently in terms of verses, lyrics, J. Cole, he had a prime opportunity to sit and not even really beef with niggas, because it didn't really have to be beef. Like, that's the difference between Michael Jordan and everybody that played in his era. We could go golfing. We can go bowling. We could do a little gambling and hit the casinos after the game.
Mm-hmm.
But when we on this court, I'm murdering you. I'm taking you out. Because that's the game. J. Cole not only put himself in a position where he dropped one of the weakest diss tracks I've ever heard in the history of hip hop, but then to bow out of the fight and repent and say that he didn't mean it and that he respects Kendrick and all this kumbaya shit that's going on. I don't even know who this nigga is anymore. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Well, obviously he's vegan because he chose to not have the beef.
Hey, yo, that is crazy.
But I mean, I called it. They don't want the smoke from K. Dot.
Well, J. Cole specifically, I don't know where he goes from here because now at this point, anything that you release, niggas is not gonna take you serious. You
Where he
can
goes from here, he's gonna release a song with K Dot.
well then he's gonna solidify himself in history as Kendrick Lamar's bitch. And I don't even think he realized like the weight of what it is that he did. And he did it. Like I don't think that he's seeing this from the eyes of like hip hop. I don't know if this has ever happened before. I don't know if anyone of this magnitude, a superstar of his size, of his caliber, has ever been enthralled in the middle of a rap beef and then has just been like, nah, man, we cool. I take that shit back. I shouldn't have said that shit, man. That's fucked up. But we friends, right? I've never seen this before. Like, I'm devastated, to be honest with you. I'm devastated because I thought that what we had going here was for the first time in a long time, we had real, like, hip hop beef with the top stars. Like, that's what this was supposed to be. And for J. Cole just to moonwalk out of that shit in the way that he did, I'm devastated. I'm devastated. That is not hip hop. I never want to hear J. Cole's name in any top rapper conversations. I no longer care about J. Cole's albums. I no longer care about anything that he releases after this because you have now essentially just removed yourself from any hip hop conversation.
So his true fans, which we know have been rocking with him since day one, since probably his first ever release, because those are probably the only people that follow him nowadays.
I consider myself a fan. I consider myself a true J. Cole fan.
So people are saying that he's demonstrating exactly what a class act he is and has been, and how he's choosing not to allow the negative energy to overtake this career of his at this point. But I mean, I called it, and I'm going to continue saying it. You and I were having this argument for the last 2 weeks now, on and off camera. And truth be told, they were not going to take the K Dot smoke. And Drake has yet to respond.
I want to make myself very, very clear. I have not lost respect for J. Cole as a person. As a person, as someone who has beefed with his homeboys before, like real beef where niggas really started talking crazy and it really like turned into some shit. As a person who has beefed with their homeboys before, I can understand and respect man to man just being like, bro, I don't even really want to beef with you. Like, I love you. We family. We not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So, man to man, I can respect the fuck out of J. Cole for doing that shit.
But
this is hip hop. This is hip hop. Kendrick didn't take no personal shots at Cole. This wasn't, I'm a better man than you. This is, I'm a better rapper than you are. That's what this was. This was completely competitive. This was for the sport.
It was supposed to be a bar for bar, toe for toe match where the craft was to be demonstrated as to who was better at putting together a response.
This was Kobe and LeBron in the All-Star game where LeBron had the last shot and he dished it to Kevin Love instead of pulling up in Kobe's face. That's what this is. All the eyes are on you. The clock is winding down. Here we are in the biggest moment on this stage, and you got one shot, and instead you kick it to the white nigga in the corner. And now we're just waiting to see what Drake do.
Nothing. He's not going to do anything.
Drake gonna take his time with it. I understand that. I definitely think that Drake. I'm still on the side of Drake has to say something.
He will wait till the next album that he releases, and then he will mention it on a track on the album.
That might be the case, but rumor has it Drake got something dropping this Friday.
Yeah, okay, we'll see.
When Future drop his album, rumor has it Drake is gonna drop.
Okay, we'll see.
so that his single can do the numbers that Future's album is going to do, and he got a one up on Future.
We'll see.
Because Drake, his Scorpio senses a tingling. Scorpio niggas, we know revenge like the back of our hand. Just wait until we get the opportunity.
But if that's the case, he should have responded already.
No, you got to plan it out. You got to be meticulous. I'm calculated. I would love to see a response from Drake, but not if it's going to be rushed. Because that's what I want. I want, for the sake of hip hop, I want a real battle. I want it to be thought out. I want each competitor to bring their best. So that way, when we get to the end of this, we could say they both gave it they all, but this person came out on top. But I want it to where there really is no loser because the fans win. Hip hop wins. Whenever you get the best of the best of the best coming together, and it becomes that, like 2001 was lit when Nas and Jay was going back and forth. Like it just, I thought we was gonna get that. I thought we was gonna get Takeover, Ether, Super Ugly. I mean, yeah, Super Ugly got a little bit out of hand, but that was it's hip hop. You know, it's hip hop. For J. Cole to just remove himself and just be like, "Oh, but I love you." Shout if y'all think K Dot is one of the best rappers that ever. J. Cole, not only have you just removed yourself from really from you've removed yourself from everything competitive in hip hop. And nobody is checking for you anymore. Kendrick was reading your future when he said, "Ain't nobody but the mirror looking for the fall off." Because that's really what's happening now.
Listen, I mean, I can't say I didn't anticipate this to happen, and I'm going to keep saying it.
You didn't anticipate this happening. You didn't think J. Cole was going to diss him and then back out like this. I don't think nobody saw this coming.
Backing out, no, not at all. But for this not to go very far, because Kendrick has the upper hand. And I swear on everything, if Drake releases a response and he starts singing in the first 3 bars, I'm turning that shit off.
I mean, with Drake, I'd be surprised. Drake might do some patois shit and come up British and go and get Bob Marley for the feature or some shit. I don't even know.
Drake, if he comes out and just starts with some hardcore rap shit and then just starts singing, you a bitch, I am fucking, I'm turning that shit off.
No,
because this is supposed to be about hip hop. This is supposed to be about releasing some shit. And I'll be honest with you, I think that Drake is only going to respond to K Dot on his next album through a song, and everybody's going to listen to it, his album, looking for that one bar that he throws. But quite honestly, if there is a true beef going on between Ross and Drake, I'm more curious to see what comes out of that in the next coming weeks.
Then K-Dot and Drake?
Drake knows that he can't handle a beef with K-Dot.
He might think that in the back of his mind, but publicly, I don't think Drake is gone fold, especially not after this J. Cole shit.
I don't think he'll fold.
J. Cole has put Drake in a very precarious situation. This shit has just really gotten spooky because it started as we the big three. It's the Spider-Man Drake. The Spider-Man meme is me looking at Drake. Like they was tag teaming for a little while. First person shooter is now gonna go down as the first shot in all of this. And so Drake got to live with that because that shit is on his album. But now, when your tag team partner is standing up on stage at his fucking festival telling people that you bowing out of this because you love this nigga? Love? Like, now what
I
do I...
mean,
If I'm Drake, now I gotta diss both of y'all niggas. Cause what the fuck kind of funny shit is that? I was in the studio with you when you was taking shots at this nigga. First person shooter is on my album, bro. Yeah, I can't believe. I think really what it is that he put the song out. It wasn't acclaimed the way that he thought it was going to be when he first released it, and that he listened back on it and was like, "What the fuck am I talking about? To Pimp a Butterfly is trash." Like, you sound like a hypocrite. You sit here and you critiquing his catalog, but you called him part of the big three. Kendrick and Drake never said that shit that I can remember ever, up
yeah.
until J. Cole said that shit.
I mean, it
So
was a short-lived beef.
you put me in this big three, and now I'm ass? Now my catalog is trash? I don't want to hear shit from J. Cole. And I don't want to hear shit from J. Cole, the fan base, either. Everybody got to shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear Boss Nothing. I don't want no Revenge of the Dreamers. I'd all pack all of that shit up. I don't want another Dreamville Festival. I don't even want... Niggas got to move out of North Carolina. We got to sell North Carolina back to the French. We got to get rid of this shit. Like, he got to go. All of it got to go. Everything. Everything has to go. The Jordan collab got to go. I don't want to never see J. Cole on no basketball team shooting no jump shots. No. J. Cole got to go. He got to go. He's removed. He's done. He's done. His career's cooked. Because hip hop is ego. It's all ego. It's all ego. And you have deflated
Always.
your own ego going on stage and saying, essentially, I'm always going to be second best to this nigga.
See, the way I take it, and many people are going to have their disagreement with what I'm about to say, but I take it as though he doesn't respect the craft.
I think it's exactly the opposite of that.
He respects it too much that he doesn't want to do it.
I think he respected too much. I think that, like, he loves hip hop. And in his mind, what's best for hip hop is for the best rappers in hip hop to all get along and piece it up and be on songs together and everything be kumbaya.
So what? He wants to he essentially wants to assemble the Avengers of music, of hip hop, or the Justice League of hip hop.
He must want niggas to sit and be friends. But that is an exact contradiction of everything you've been saying the last 2 years. For the last 2 years, we haven't heard shit from J. Cole but about how he's the best rapper that there is. Nobody want to touch him. Nobody want to smoke. Nobody want to rap with him. All of this other bullshit. For 2 years. And now we here where it's your homeboy who's trying to compete with you. The homie, somebody that you know, that you've known for a long time.
So let me ask you a question, just to cut you off for a second. Had it been Drake, you think Cole would have tapped out, or you think he would have kept going?
Had it been Drake, I honestly don't even know. If you would have asked me this question 3 days ago, I would have had an answer for you.
I feel like had it been Drake, he would have probably kept it going, because one, it would have been beneficial for him, win or lose, right? One, he's getting the recognition and the additional 15 seconds of fame by people actually like trying to listen to his response to see what he does to King Drake in everybody's eyes, which by no means am I saying that he's a king. And two, I think he would have felt that lyrically, rap wise, he probably had the upper hand on Drake. Now, I understand that he says K Dot is his brother and everything, but I don't think he was ready for the smoke that K Dot was probably going to drop.
But that's the thing. Kendrick didn't even get a chance to say nothing.
He won without doing anything.
This
like a
nigga
true
J. Cole
boss.
said I had trouble sleeping the last 2 nights.
Hmm. He did.
The boogeyman got y'all shook like that?
So, which is why it just solidifies why K Dot is just at the top of the game, rap wise. Like, you look at what, and this is what I continuously say, and I've said this too. Like, Kendrick drops classics. Like, Kendrick drops albums that are just a story. He's a writer. He's an artist. He is an author because his albums are stories from beginning to end. And it's like, you can't skip one part of it because you'll miss where you're at. You skip a chapter, you're fucked. You look at what J. Cole does, and what does he do? You yourself said it. He stole Lotto's flow on this song
Yeah, he
that he
did.
released.
I think in
So,
terms of pure rapping ability, though, J. Cole is up there. And I don't mean just like between the three of them. I mean, in the history of hip hop, J. Cole might be one of the top 15, 20 lyricists that we've ever had.
and I don't take that from him at all. I don't. But when you look at it, right? Kendrick has been Kendrick from day one. Kendrick's flow hasn't changed. Kendrick's style hasn't changed. Who Kendrick is has not changed. You look at J. Cole, and it's like J. Cole's music is influenced by what's hot at that moment.
To a certain extent, I feel like you're taking that as a negative more than the positive that it is. J. Cole been in this game for a while. His first album came out in what two? Well, when did the warm up come out? 2008,
I
2009.
believe it was probably 2007, 2008, probably around there, because we were still in our high school years.
He been
But
in this game for a long time.
and that was around the time that Drake dropped Comeback Season.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love Comeback Season. I'm not trying to. Comeback Season to me is my favorite Drake project.
Oh,
I know
100%.
that, like Comeback Season, I still sit and listen to it to this day.
Comeback Season is So Far Gone, the original mixtape, not the media public release,
Yeah,
was fire.
yeah.
Those two mixtapes solidified Drake at that moment as next up, which is exactly what it was. He was next up. Um, and everybody thought Cole was next up. And he really got overshadowed by Drake because Drake just, those two mixtapes are just classics. Those two mixtapes, I mean, to win an award off a mixtape is ridiculous. And that's what he did.
I wouldn't even say J. Cole got outshined by Drake though. Comeback Season was amazing. So Far Gone was amazing. But the warm up and the come up were both phenomenal. J.
Oh,
Cole
they
really
were.
and then he carried it. He carried it in the Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights was that's to me a classic. He kind of had it all working until the debut album came out. When he released the shit that had Mr. Nice Watch on it, what was the name of the album?
But you know what it is too? Even when Drake came out and he dropped Thank Me Later, his first actual mainstream project, if you don't count So Far Gone as the worldwide release that it was. But when he dropped Thank Me Later, like, as a first album, it was a pretty solid first album as well.
Thank Me Later?
It had some misses, but
Oh, hell yeah.
but it was a pretty solid album. It just, you know what it was? It showed Drake's evolution into music and what he was going towards, because it was nothing compared to Comeback Season and So Far Gone. It was a completely different style.
Well, I think that's because once you start getting once you start getting major label backing, then you got all these other people that have some influence in what it is that they are trying to hear.
But
Um,
during that time, he didn't, though, because during that time, he was still under Wayne,
of
and
course,
Wayne gave him full creativity, ownership over what he wanted to release. So what Drake released was what he wanted to put out. So it's not like he really had so much label say in what he was able to put out and what he wasn't able to put out. He put out what he wanted to put out, which is the creativity and the ownership that Wayne gave him over his music, which is what, quite honestly, I respect the most about Lil Wayne as a label head and as somebody who had his artists under him. He gave them full creative direction and full creative ownership of what they wanted to do, which is pretty much why Nicki Minaj put out so many hits as well. Nicki Minaj's projects, let's be real, if you're not a Nicki fan, you listen to her projects and you're gonna become a fan of some sort, because her projects were classics as well. Her
yeah,
mixtapes
that
to
Beat
her
Me Up
albums,
Scotty mixtape was insane.
it's just, it's everything that you can tell. You can see the mentorship that Wayne really had in them as artists, because his No Ceilings projects were very similar to Beat Me Up Scotty, were very similar to what Drake was doing with So Far Gone, and the evolution of his music. Like, you can tell the mentorship between that Wayne had there. But going back to Cole real quick, I honestly have lost respect for this. There's no way you can go ahead and, first of all, he went out publicly and said on this song that he didn't want to respond. He only felt obligated to respond because his phone was getting blown up, which was why he released something. And then you go out in front of the masses and say, this is not who I am. I'm not releasing this. But funny enough, he doesn't do it in front of a Drake crowd, being on tour with Drake. He does it in front of his own fan base who went to his own festival
Well, yeah,
because he knew they would rock with it.
if you're gonna do that shit, you got to do that shit at home. That's the attitude for a home game. You can't do that shit on the road, because
No,
if he would have
you're
did that
not.
shit in front of Drake's audience, they would have lit his ass up.
He would have got booed
Yeah, they
off
wouldn't
the
even
stage.
they wouldn't have let that nigga out the building. It would have been way worse of a moment. He knew his fans was gonna embrace the fact that, he was showing love.
As look,
But even they were fucking confused when he first said, "Who here thinks that Kendrick Lamar is one of the best rappers in the building?" There's like a hesitation. There's a hesitation with them. There's like this lull. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do?
because no artist has done what he did. Any artist that has ever spoken highly of another artist has always said, let's give it up for one of the greatest out there. Let's give it up for one of the best lyricists out there aside from me, or one of the top 10 rappers or one of the top 5 rappers. They've never said, let's, who thinks he's the best artist or the best rapper, and you're doing the same shit on stage. Like, you're basically diminishing your craft and diminishing yourself as an artist. How do you do that?
Yeah, I don't understand what the move was. I just don't get what this does, because, like I said, I respect the hell out of him as a man to say I was wrong to do this. I didn't really feel it in the first place, and I shouldn't have put that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I can understand that, but where is your competitive fire? When
There is none.
Kendrick dissed you in the spirit of competition, he didn't say anything personal. You came back with something personal. You came back with personal jabs. We could have just kept it straight competitive. But see, the thing is, I guess he feel like you can't beef with a nigga competitively unless it's personal. Because what am I going to say about you?
100%. Because then you, at the end of the day, anything personal that you say or any jabs you take are gonna go ahead and tarnish whatever relationship you want to maintain.
See, and I think this is just J. Cole saying, I'm not going to let it get to a personal place. Because if it gets personal, I mean, that's still my homeboy at the end of the day. And I'm not going to put personal shit out on the airwaves for other people to pick apart.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, I still want to be friends with this person. So J.
But
Cole is just saying, basically, if we have to keep it just rap, that's a battle that I can't win. And so I'm going to step out of this right now.
I just, quite honestly, I am shocked that this happened the way it did. I thought that there would just have been no further responses if K Dot went ahead and responded, and it would have just died there. And I would have just easily said, okay, Cole's career is dead. But for you to go tap out your own festival, your own crowd, you headlining your festival, and for you to go out on stage knowing that this shit was going to get recorded, knowing that this shit was going to hit social media within an instant, and to tap out publicly the way you did, and to call your competition the greatest rapper out there, I can't say I have much respect for such a thing.
Yeah, it just for me, I feel like there has to be some competitive fire. And like I said, this is J. Cole basically saying, if we got to keep shit just rap, I can't fuck with him. So I got to step out of this now. He could have at least waited for Kendrick to come back and respond. Like he could have at least let us get the response. But I feel like even with that, he knew that Kendrick would have took it to a much, much darker place. Because now you got personal. You talked about my catalog. You said that my album was trash and was putting people to sleep. You open up this door for personal shit. And now I got to annihilate you. And Kendrick is that type of nigga. I feel like Kendrick don't even want to battle J. Cole. Like, this is really for Drake. He wanted the Drake smoke for a very long time, and Drake just kind of evasive maneuvers his way out of everything. But this wasn't for J. Cole in the first place. J. Cole was the one that came and I'm just devastated, man. You talk about not wanting to let Nas down. Nigga let all of us down. Like, this is just, I have never seen nothing like this in my whole entire life. Like, I'm devastated. And I feel like J. Cole, he'll still be able to rap. He'll still be able to rap. He'll still be able to put out some songs. He'll still be able to put out some albums. But I don't know what kind of rap fan. Anybody who could sit and take J. Cole seriously now, you're not really a fan of hip hop for real.
Yeah, he should become a Christian rapper, maybe. But before we move on from music, really quick, I want to make one statement that I'm sure is going to rattle the cages, the fences, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If Tyler is not given any type of award for Best New Artist after this album that she released, I will stand in protest of solidarity for her.
Yeah, you love Tyler.
First of all, this album, I've given it multiple listens already.
Uh-huh.
It's a great album. It's a great album. And let's be honest, a lot of us probably thought the same. We thought the girl was going to be a one-hit wonder with that Water song and then dropping a remix to Water months later with Travis Scott on it. And we were like, how long is the Water going to run?
That's funny. But that's clever.
Then she drops True for There. Then she drops Art. This album is just fire, bro. I fuck with this album hard. I like this album. I definitely like the album.
Tyler is your vote for Best New Artist.
I believe so.
Okay. I can respect it.
I mean, we're only in month 4 of the year, so let's see what happens. But do you know that Rhythm and Flow is coming back?
Who the fuck is Rhythm and Flow?
So Rhythm and Flow is the rap competition that was on Netflix, which had Chance the Rapper, Cardi B as the judges. So after 5 years, this show is finally coming back for a season 2. And that's only because of the fame and the importance that TikTok has brought to this show.
Chance the Rapper better take his ass somewhere and go right.
I don't know if they're going to be the judges. I don't know what the judge panel looks like this time around. I don't know if they're the same judges.
I don't want Chance as a judge. I want Chance somewhere sitting up with some acid and then writing us another classic. Chance better get his ass in the booth.
J. Cole got my vote for judge.
No, J. Cole has to go do America's Got Talent or something. This rap shit is over. Go be an American Idol judge. He's done. Let's say we bring back verses.
Okay,
Me and you,
let's go.
Jeremiah, The Dream, T-Pain, Akon.
Jeremiah's first out.
Jeremiah's first out.
Jeremiah's first out.
No way. No.
Jeremiah's first out.
No.
Jeremiah first out.
Oof. Okay.
T-Pain second out.
Okay.
Akon third out. The Dream wins. You go full catalog. If you're including what was written.
You got Akon going back. You got Akon going to the finals.
Yes. You're telling me there was eras where Akon has the advantage over T-Pain is that Akon's albums did a little bit more numbers than what T-Pain's full albums did. T-Pain was the king of features at one point.
Yes.
But album-wise, T-Pain was not releasing great albums or good albums at that. Akon wasn't releasing a great album either. His album was decent, but it was doing more numbers than what T-Pain's numbers were doing in terms of albums.
So you got Akon going to the finals.
Yeah, and Akon also crossed over multiple times to multiple genres.
But all right, so what are the big Akon tracks for you? Because I don't see how Akon gets past Jeremiah or The Dream, for that matter.
Because the Dream would be a winner. He's going out over
Jeremiah
T-Pain and Jeremiah. Mm-hmm.
So full catalog, you got Akon beating out T-Pain.
Shall we look for a list somewhere in terms of Akon versus T-Pain?
Akon don't have nothing in his catalog better than Sprung.
Okay, you're telling me that Locked Up didn't have the world in a chokehold?
Is it better than Sprung?
Sprung was just that song that just had you vibe out to the same way Lloyd, when Lloyd was in existence, had you vibing out.
Yeah, okay. Locked Up is better than Sprung?
They're pretty equal, bro.
I think Sprung got that, and I think it's easy.
You think?
I think that's an easy choice. Full catalog. I got Akon going out first. I fuck with Akon. Like, I don't think his 20 is as strong as like Jeremiah's 20 or The Dream's 20, because Shawty is the shit. And that Dream era. Speaking of all these old rappers, I heard Missy is going on tour with Busta Rhymes.
Missy's going on tour with Busta Rhymes, Timbaland, and Sierra. It is a heavy squad going on tour.
That's gonna be fire. I feel like Missy don't get enough respect as an MC. She was by far one of the most creative rappers of all time.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
I just don't think she gets enough credit as a rapper. Not even just as a rapper. Like, just for what she does for music. What she did creatively for hip hop, I don't think Missy gets enough credit.
But you gotta look at it from like the mentality of current day, right? So you're looking at these fucking Gen Z fuckers who are basically the ones that are deciding factors in how music plays out, because they're the ones that are like making shit trending on TikTok and blowing shit up on TikTok or whatever the case may be, right? If you're a 90s baby, then you fucked heavy with Missy. Because when she dropped the Get Your Freak On, you fucked heavy with Busta. You fucked heavy with Sierra when she dropped My Goodies, Not My Goodies. Like, if you have to be a 90s baby to truly, truly, truly fucking respect those three artists and know the legends that they are. And then what pisses me off is like being a 90s baby and knowing that Aaliyah was the princess of R&B when she was in existence before she passed away tragically. And then Sierra came along because Missy saw something in Sierra and gave Sierra that opportunity to come forward as the next R&B artist of female to do something similar to what Aaliyah did. And then to see a fucking Gen Z fucker wearing an Aaliyah shirt, not knowing Aaliyah's history or not knowing who Aaliyah was as an artist or respecting Aaliyah's music, like that shit pisses me off, because it's like, I wouldn't go around wearing, and maybe this is just me, maybe, you know, public opinion, but I wouldn't go around wearing a shirt of an artist from like decades ago that I honestly didn't live through their time or live through their history, in which I will give them their flowers. But going back to, I guess, my point and trying to circle it back is that if Missy were to drop a song today, Missy's not going to get the flowers that she deserves for the song that she's going to put out, because the current people that are kind of saturating this market and the ones that are deciding who gets pushed forward are not going to really fuck with Missy, because they're not going to really know who Missy really is. Same way if Busta Rhymes did the same shit.
I think if Missy came out now, if Missy's debut would have been same music, same style, everything, just move her career 2 decades forward, and she came out now and she was, I think Missy would be the biggest artist in the world, because she's perfect for this era.
I mean,
Missy's perfect for TikTok. Imagine how crazy her dances would have gone on TikTok. Her in the puffy garbage bag suit. I can't stand the rain on TikTok. Like, that shit would be going crazy. Missy brought a different type of energy and a versatility between her sound. It was pop, but it was rap, but it was dance, but it was like, it was just some of everything. Like, it was just, Missy is by far one of the more underrated artists in the history of music, not even just hip hop. I don't even want to just limit her just to hip hop.
But there's a lot of artists that are very underrated in terms of what they did for music and who they were as artists. Missy Elliott is definitely one of the top ones at that list. I think Busta Rhymes is one of the top ones at that list as well, because people look at Busta Rhymes and they're just like, oh, he just raps fast. Oh, but you gotta listen. Like, come on, Busta Rhymes has some fucking fire. Don't this shit make my people wanna jump? Come on.
And he's aged well. Like, even when Busta released albums now, they still sound good. The quality is still there. Busta Rhymes is still rapping his ass off.
100%. 100%. And I
just think it was always tough for him to shake the gimmick stuff that he came out with at first.
Yeah. I think that it's a tour that I'd be interested to see. I know that shit is going to be live from beginning to end. I know that there's going to be an Aaliyah tribute in there somewhere from Missy.
Oh, definitely. Missy and Timbaland.
Missy and Timbaland are definitely going to tribute Aaliyah and give Aaliyah the flowers that she would have deserved. Rest in peace.
I honestly would love to see like an Aaliyah hologram at some point. Remember they did the Tupac hologram like 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, they did.
I would love to see an Aaliyah hologram on stage with them. That shit would make me cry. I'm not even gonna lie.
No, I think it would make a lot of people cry. Like, Aaliyah was just, I remember being a kid and I remember playing, I think on my PS1, I was playing a video game when I heard the news that Aaliyah had passed, and that shit devastated me, bro. I loved Aaliyah like no other, man. But Aaliyah was just, she was my Selena for the Spanish community. Like how everybody was on Selena, like I was on Aaliyah. Like, and when Aaliyah died, I fucking cried my eyes out, bro. Because it was just, it was devastating, man. And I even get chills to this day just thinking about the fact that shit happened. But you kind of think, right, and wonder if Aaliyah had not passed away, would there have been a Ciara? Would there have been many of these female R&B artists that Aaliyah kind of paved the way for? Or would Aaliyah have been like at legend status, which I think she would have been at?
Rest in peace to Aaliyah.
Definitely. For those of you looking into it, I know pre-sale drops tomorrow, and I think Missy Elliott dropped the pre-sale code. It's Out of This World, all one word. So check that shit out. I know I'm probably going to try to get some tickets, see what happens.
Missy, cut us a check for that free promo he just gave you. Somebody give us something, Timberland.
Listen, if I could get anything if I were to ever get anything out of that, I would love to be in a studio with Timberland and just drop like 2 or 3 songs with Timberland.
Yeah, you look like you could get off on some of those Justin Timberlake beats that Justin Timberlake not using no more.
If I were to be able to be in the studio with Timberland, just for the opportunity of being in his presence and having him kind of mentor me for a couple minutes, I would love to get like 2 or 3 tracks out of that shit.
You know how these those music mentors get. Speaking of Diddy, they have Diddy condoms making their way around the city. Yeah,
no Diddy.
some no Diddy condoms. I love it. Apparently, they slick up when you stick them in boy butts.
Wow.
So that's awesome.
Okay. You know what's crazy? They're playing back a lot of his old verses on a lot of the old tracks that he dropped. And going on with everything that's going on now, you just listen to the words and you're like, oh shit, like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what he really said?
We should have known that Diddy was fucking boy butts when he said that him and his girl was more than just friends. They was like brothers. And all night they play fight under covers. I don't know how many brothers that Diddy have, but I don't play fight with my brothers under no covers. Like, I don't know what that nigga is on, but we should have been knew he was invading men's asses. Versus Diddy versus Jermaine Dupri.
Ooh. Diddy.
Okay.
I mean, it's tough. It's a close one. It's a close one.
We should do it.
It's a close one.
At the risk of getting sued by Timberland and Swiss Beats, we should sit and we should put together our own verses.
Let's go.
Do it for episode 9. We'll revisit the Jeremiah. You had Akon over Jeremiah, right?
We'll revisit some of those.
Yeah,
we'll go through some of those lists.
I'm gonna take you out.
Bet.
So J. Cole's not the only one that tapped out over the weekend.
Who else tapped out?
WrestleMania was this past weekend.
Oh God. The Emmys of sports.
WrestleMania. This is the first year that I've watched WrestleMania probably in 10, maybe even 15 years.
Really? You didn't even watch it when Bad Bunny was included?
Fuck no. Fuck no. I'm not checking for Bad Bunny at
Bad Bunny?
WrestleMania. No. WrestleMania was dope. WrestleMania was fire this year. Like I said, I haven't watched it in a while, so I have no other years to really go off of except for the prime years where when we was kids and we was teenagers still watching wrestling. But I actually sat and watched it this year. I was real interested to see the whole Bloodline Cody Rhodes storyline take place. Everybody was going with this Cody Rhodes finishing his story type of shit, trying to win the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And he won. He is the first person in his family to hold the World Heavyweight title. So, congratulations to Cody Rhodes. Rest in peace, Dusty Rhodes. I don't know where the fuck Goldust is at, but shout out to him too. Yeah, I thought WrestleMania was really interesting. It was dope.
Okay.
It was really dope.
I mean, I'm not into this modern day wrestling shit, but talk to me back in the 90s when WCW and WWF still existed. And then maybe we could talk.
I think I'm gonna start watching again.
Okay.
They got me interested. There's a lot of talented wrestlers.
Okay.
It's real different now. Like, I've always known that the matches were scripted.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell me wrestling wasn't real. Like, you can't tell me that Mick Foley didn't feel real pain getting chokeslammed under those thumbtacks. Or you can't tell me that he wasn't in real pain when The Rock was delivering those chair shots to his head with his hands cuffed behind him. Like,
I remember going to a wrestling match in Madison Square Garden and witnessing a cage match the first time, and I forgot if it was Bret or Owen Hart climbing to the very top with crutches because he had a broken ankle. And I remember just him getting dragged from the top of the fucking cage and body slammed onto the fucking mat and just blood everywhere. It was just it was wrestling was different. It was
Yeah,
different back then.
it was scripted, but they was still giving they blood and sweat and
Oh, most
tears,
definitely.
literal blood. Like I know it was kind of wild to have them like cutting in matches to deliver a lot of those bloody scenes. Ric Flair was the king of that shit. Like those blood scenes, he had blood dripping all over his face. He'd have his shit stained in his hair, and like
Yeah.
Ric Flair, he gave a lot to like dedicate into those bloody scenes. But the storylines were better back in those days.
Yeah.
Like,
I think what's cool about modern day wrestling, I think the only cool thing about it is that a lot of these wrestlers are like daughters or granddaughters or grandsons or nephews of a lot of wrestling legends from back in our day. But I mean, I you get into wrestling, let me know how that goes for you. I'm not too sure that that's something that I can really get into nowadays.
yeah, I'm a start watching it again just to see kind of how much of it can draw my attention.
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
because I used to love it back in the day. Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
good with the matches being scripted as long as the storylines are going to be good.
yeah.
And the storylines got real sour behind John Cena being the face of the company.
Oh man,
Um,
it was something I just literally couldn't see.
yeah, they made John Cena like this superhuman. Like they made it so that he couldn't be um stopped in any, like he was like new Hulk Hogan. And to me that was just kind of cheesy because you know it's just the only superhuman that I'm ever gonna acknowledge in wrestling is the Undertaker.
Oh,
That's the only one. Like,
Undertaker is Michael Myers.
yeah, and he's supposed to be like when
He is
those
Michael
lights come out
Myers.
and you hear that dong,
Dong.
you already know
And
what time it is. And
and the
so,
smoke. Man, listen, like I know that you took a look at this Bleacher Report wrestling top 50
oh yeah,
that they dropped. Um I'm honestly surprised by it, man. How you have John Cena over a lot of these legendary wrestlers on on this list?
they had John Cena at 5.
I
John
don't
Cena
know
was
how.
above The Rock at 7, which I think is insane.
Ridiculous.
They had Cena above Shawn Michaels.
Ridiculous.
They had Cena above Hogan.
But what gets me, like, aside from all of this bullshit, how do you have the Big Show at 50?
Yeah, there's a lot about the list that I really didn't like. I don't want to run through the whole entire list,
No, of course not. But
but um,
there were some ridiculous, highly rated wrestlers for no reason. Like, why we have Rey Mysterio so high on the list?
well, Rey Mysterio is, I mean, he's legendary.
Yes,
He's
but
legendary. He
he was.
WCW days.
Where was he
Um,
sitting on the list again? Was it
Rey
12?
Mysterio is at 12. Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
12,
right
right?
between Kurt Angle at 11 and Roman Reigns at 13.
Okay, let's discuss this. Roman Reigns at 13.
Coming off of the 4th longest championship reign of all time, he's been heavyweight champion for 4 years. I can kind of see
He
why they pushed him up there.
he came out above Undertaker on the list, right? Or where was Undertaker?
No, Undertaker's 4.
Okay. Okay.
Bret the Hitman Hart was at 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin at 2. Macho Man Randy Savage at 3. Undertaker at 4, and John Cena at 5. Um,
I just don't see John Cena, man. I can't.
let's just do top 10. Bruno Sammartino at 6. The Rock at 7. Shawn Michaels at 8. Roddy Piper at 9. Hulk Hogan at 10. Chris Benoit was probably excluded because he murdered his family. I mean, if we're just talking about what goes on in the ring, Chris Benoit should be on this list. If you're excluding Chris Benoit for that, Hulk Hogan should have been excluded for telling his daughter not to date no niggas. He told his daughter, if you're gonna date niggas, go get you one of those basketball playing niggas.
What about his multiple sex tapes that were released?
Ew. Ew. Nobody want to see Hulk Hogan doing leg drops on his wife.
Fucking old at no, it wasn't even with his wife. I think it was with younger women. And when I say younger, I mean like in their 20s, like early 20s.
Chris Jericho was at 16. I feel like Chris Jericho should have been higher. Brock Lesnar was at 17. He should have been higher.
There's a lot of people on that list that should have been higher than what they were. There's a lot of people on that list that should have been a lot lower than what they fucking were. But
I think Macho Man Randy Savage shouldn't have been in third.
I hold special place in my heart for Macho Man. I don't think he should be third, but I'll leave him top 10 just for sentimental reasons.
Yeah, but putting him over the Undertaker is nuts. Put him over Shawn Michaels is nuts.
Listen, putting him over Kane is nuts.
Yeah. Stone Cold should be number one.
I agree.
I have a problem with anybody other than Stone Cold being number one on this list.
See, I would have Stone Cold, Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, Rock.
Kane, I would put a little bit further down just because he was just an Undertaker spinoff. They just needed someone to be able to combat the Undertaker. And because the Undertaker was supposed to be dead, not alive, they needed somebody who was just as tall, who was also a dead man, to come and combat him. So I feel like Kane was just a product of needing to stop the Undertaker. Ric Flair was 24th. He definitely should have been higher, even though he's racist too. Triple H is at 21. I feel like he should have been higher. Kane is 31st. Booker T at 33rd. Batista at 36. Like, there's just, I mean, it's a good list, but I feel like they got some parts of it wrong. There's no answer for the best wrestler or best WWE superstar of all time outside of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, most definitely. The Stone Cold Steve Austin, and honestly, The Rock as The Rock, not as Dwayne Johnson, the actor, but The Rock. These were legends during this time, man. You know, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, Stone Cold coming out with his 2 beers, just slamming them and throwing them on himself.
I think Stone Cold single-handedly defined an era. Like, the Attitude Era could only be the Attitude Era because Stone Cold was who he was. I'm definitely going to start watching wrestling again, and I will definitely let you know if it holds up.
Let's see.
Maybe next year for WrestleMania, we can sit and go get tickets.
We'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll think about it. Depends on where they're doing it. I don't know if this is really relevant to sports, but the greatest closer in the history of baseball.
Let's go.
Mr. Clutch, Mariano Rivera himself.
Let's go.
Has come out and endorsed Donald Trump for our next president.
Don't see why not.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest here, okay? And I don't discuss politics because I just don't discuss politics, but I'm gonna get into this one aspect of things. You take away the racism from what Donald Trump brought onto America during his time, right? And you look at where we were or how we were, and what are your thoughts compared to this Joe Biden era?
I think it's nuts to say take away the racism from a president.
I know, right?
I think that's fucking crazy.
But I think I'm saying, like, if you really look at it, right, and you take away this, I'm not saying that I condone it by any means, but we didn't cancel the president who was getting head in the Oval Office by his assistant.
Yeah, we should have.
With Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton...
Don't get me wrong. If I'm president, I'm also getting head in the Oval Office. Don't get me wrong. Like
your head of state. You're
I
the
think
head of
that's.
the state and you're getting head in the head of state chair.
I feel like that's the whole point of being president:
But like,
being able to push the button and be able to get head from your secretary in the Oval Office. What else is there?
life goals.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
But like, if you look like, I was raised in a Democratic household, always have been, always was, and the more and more bullshit that I see that is happening in the United States, the more and more I get pissed off, and I kind of understand where the Republicans are coming from to an extent. Not saying that I fully understand it, but I'm saying to an extent, like the fucking migrant situation that's going on in New York right now. They are giving these people a debit card with fucking $50,000 for the year, and that shit's coming out of my pocket. But I didn't have a say in whether or not we can allow all these people into the U.S. The crime rate has skyrocketed because our bullshit mayor ain't doing shit and our governor isn't doing shit either. And then you look at what the priority is, and the priority is charging people $15 a day to drive past 50th Street in the city to avoid congestion. But yet you have all these people running around robbing people, riding on scooters and mugging people in the street, shooting and stabbing people in the trains. And your whole focus right now is charging people $15 to avoid congestion to go downtown. But now I'm busting my ass working, making a very decent salary for my age, and I have to pay my tax dollars to go ahead and fund all this crime that continuously happens because we're allowing these people to come in. And I have to fund their lifestyle because now my tax dollars are giving them a $50,000 debit card for them to use as they see fit. It's
You know what's
bullshit.
fucked up?
What?
You know what's fucked up? And I'm only playing devil's advocate here because, to be honest with you, I don't vote.
Me neither.
I voted for Obama once and never voted again. And the only reason I voted for Obama is just because he's black. I'm going to just keep it a buck. I voted for Obama because he was black. I wanted to vote for a black guy to be president, and then I never voted again. I don't vote because politics is bullshit. None of these people give a fuck about the country or the well-being of the citizens or none of that. I think
100%.
if you do vote, that's good for you. I'm not going to try and stop you from voting, but it's just not for me. My argument to what it is that you said, what is the alternative for the migrants? They broke just like everybody else. They're trying to survive. They couldn't survive where it is that they were because of crime and danger and things like that. So they come here to try and get a better life, but they need a fresh start somewhere. Who's supposed to help them if we don't collectively help them?
So we're okay to go ahead and bust these people in from their countries and fly them in from their countries so we can give them a fresh start here, knowing that we have so many other situations that we have to focus on. And we can go ahead and provide them housing, provide them all this money so they can go ahead and establish themselves. And that wasn't even put through legislation as a bill or as a law for us to potentially agree for our tax dollars to go towards, for us to sign off on, for us to vote for, which is why I get when you say politics is all bullshit when it comes to them not giving a shit. It's all a numbers game and it's all a money game because there's under the table deals that are happening left and right. But why wasn't this shit passed through legislation? Why didn't this shit go to Congress? Why didn't this shit go ahead and come up as a bill that we had the ability to vote for on whether or not we were okay with this or not? Like, you're telling me there's families, and I'll use my mother as a prime example. These motherfuckers are getting all these benefits on the face of this earth, but yet my mother's struggling right now just to qualify for Medicare. And that's the God's honest truth. So you're talking about citizens who have lived in the United States for their damn near entire life, have come to the US or were born here, are struggling to get the treatment and the benefits that they should be entitled to, but we're just giving them away for free to these people that had a bad life in another country that we didn't even decide on. It's bullshit. It's bullshit, in my opinion.
I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent. Um, I do agree that our tax money is misused in a lot of cases.
Look, I have nothing against immigration at all. This country was founded on immigration. Um,
Nigga,
this a
you
lot
an
of
immigrant.
I know, right? You would say, but a lot of our family members and a lot of our ancestors like migrated here, right? And that's how we got the life that we have now.
Well, my
But
ancestors didn't migrate. We were brought here forcefully. It's a little bit different.
you were dragged here.
Yeah, we was dragged here in chains. That's not really migration.
But I just think that if you want to preach democracy, like, and that we're a democratic country for the people by the people, then allow us some fucking say in what occurs. Don't just make decisions for us.
I'm gonna say it because you seem too hesitant in wanting to say it. Fuck them migrants. Fuck them migrants.
Aside from that, cancel
I'm
my
mad.
debt. Cancel my student debt.
Yeah, I'm mad because y'all giving the migrants all this money and black people still ain't get no reparations. Y'all paid the Jews, and that shit didn't even happen over here. They gave the Jews money, and the Holocaust was in fucking Germany. That don't even have nothing to do with here. We was at war and blew the fuck out of Japan, blew up 2 of their little cities. They got reparations. Y'all niggas pressed the button. They got reparations. Black people still ain't getting no goddamn reparations for slavery. All we get is some bullshit fucking affirmative action. You gotta hire a certain number of black people to show your company's not racist. And now all these fucking migrants can come from fucking wherever the fuck they coming from, and now they getting money? Wherever the fuck they coming from? Fuck them migrants. Fuck them migrants.
Listen, man.
It's not personal. It's not about them. It's about the country.
I think that the wrong things are the focus right now. Like I was just having this conversation with somebody just yesterday or the day before, I believe. I was walking around downtown New York in the city, something I rarely ever do because I hate going to the fucking city. But I was walking around the city, and mental health is such a big issue in the city because there's so many homeless people out there that are just suffering, and there's so much going on that's not being addressed. Like, I'll give you a prime example, and it's some crazy shit that I witnessed. I walked by this homeless man literally taking a shit on the door of a Dodge Charger.
I got one for you. When I lived in the city, I think this was like 2016, 2017, a couple weeks before I moved. The thing that pushed me over the edge was that I got stuck on the train. I was coming from 14th Street. I got stuck on the A train late at night. The A train's going local. We got stuck in the tunnel between 59th and 72nd. We're stuck in the train. It's a train full of us, even though it's like midnight. It's hot. It's sweaty. We stuck in this spot for like 10 minutes. There's a homeless guy at the end of the train car. He gets completely naked. Mind you, we are stuck in a tunnel. He gets completely naked and then takes a shit into his bare open hand and then just started throwing shit around the train car.
Ain't that some shit?
And that's when I was like, you know what? New York is breeding ground for trauma.
But I mean, and this is one of the situations that happens. Like, you want to see some homeless dick come to New York because the amount of homeless men in New York that just are pulling their shit out in the middle of the street and either taking a piss or whacking their shit out in front of whoever walks by. It's ridiculous.
They be jerking off right in front of Dunkin' Donuts. Like, nigga, what is it about Dunkin' Donuts that makes you want to beat your meat?
And this is why I say that a New York City crackhead will take down John Wick in a battle.
I think
Fuck you, Dre.
I think New York City is literal breeding ground for trauma. Like I feel like people, as a person who lived there for a long time, as a person who was raised there, like just the constant having to be surrounded by other people and not knowing their mental state can fuck with your mental state.
Most definitely. And I think, a lot of people look at they have that saying, right? If you can make in New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I think it's 100% fucking true, because the shit that you can go through, the shit that you can witness, the shit that you have to kind of survive in the city will make you strong enough to handle anything that you can potentially face
Yeah, that's really what it
anywhere
is.
else. And it's like they say it, right? Built like New York tough. There's no New York tough. There's no toughness like a New York toughness. And it's true. Like, you go anywhere, and I'm sure you can attest to it. Like, you move to a suburban town, you move to a different state where the lifestyle is completely different. But no matter what life throws at you in that state, in that life that you're now newly establishing, you still are able to make it out of it because you have gone through worse shit in New York, and you know that this is like not the tip of the iceberg. You're like, oh, this is a setback, but this is nothing. It's a hurdle I can jump over.
Yeah. See,
And it's that New York mindset.
that is the upside to have grown up in New York. The upside to having grown up in New York is that I've seen everything that I could possibly see. Like there's nothing that surprises me anymore. So, that's kind of the positive of all of the exposure to other people that you're going to get in New York. But the downside to that is you can't predict any of these other people's movements.
No.
Like one of these
And that's the
homeless
scary part of
one
it.
of these homeless niggas might be having a really bad day
Yeah.
and just shank the fuck out of you just because you standing there.
And that's the bad part of it, and that's the crazy part. And I think that, these are the things that get overlooked by a lot of the voters in the city that are voting for like the next mayor, the next governor, the next whatever. These are the things that are being overlooked, because it's like, for the last mayoral race here in the city, like, you had Curtis Silva, who leader of the what is it, the Red Guardians, or the Red Hats, whatever they are,
Mm-hmm.
the Guardian Angels, that's their name actually, the ones who are like in trains protecting people, walking people around, whatever, right? Like, he ran for mayor, and his number one statement and everything that he was preaching was, the city doesn't need to be fixed in terms of finances and all this other stuff. Like, the city is fine. We flourish of tourism, but what we need to focus on is mental health. And it was during his press conference that this homeless man who was suffering literally bum rushed the stage, and security went to grab him, and he was like, no, let him come. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And he gave this homeless man a hug in front of everybody, and kind of talked him out of that rage that man was feeling in that moment. And he started crying, the man. And Curtis Silva was just like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is an example. But yet, we didn't vote for that. Instead, we voted for making history by voting for the first black mayor, which, shout out to the fact that we made history with it. But then you look at what he's done, and he's fucked up the city. And everybody says it. Even black people, even Spanish people, even white people obviously are going to say some stupid shit. But like, people of color and of Latino race are all saying like, I voted for this man and he fucked up the city. Like, fuck this man. But it's because you're looking at the wrong thing. Like, you're not looking at what's going on. Like, you have children that travel at night, that travel to school, that travel from school. Like, how would you feel if this homeless man went ahead or homeless woman, not to, be sexist, went ahead and harmed your child on their way to school, but they weren't mentally there to realize what they were doing? like it's a big problem, and it's something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that needs to occur. And I stand for mental health, I stand for all of that shit, and I also stand for like making equal opportunity in terms of like people who suffer from special needs, like, or people who have disabilities, like people who are deaf or people who are blind and stuff like that. I've witnessed, and to this day I always tell the story to everybody, like I witnessed the hardship of two deaf individuals going into McDonald's, struggling to be able to order what they wanted because nobody spoke sign language or nobody was able to understand, and they were there pointing at the menu like, I want a number two, like two, like, and nobody understood. And it's just like, it's shit like this that you need to look at. Like, you're sitting behind a desk in the White House, you're sitting behind a desk in City Hall, you're sitting behind all this bullshit and surrounded by a million security guards, but you're not in the streets. You're not seeing what's really going on. Like, speak to the people. You want to be for the people? Speak to the people. Live with the people.
But
Be one of us.
politicians, they might start out being for the people, but those aren't the ones
It's
that
for
get
the
votes.
money.
Those are not the ones that get
No.
votes. The ones that get the votes, the ones that get backed by the DNC and the RNC, and like, you have to have funding, and you have to have the support of your
100%.
party. Your party is only
100%.
going to support you if you're going to play ball with what it is that we're trying to get you to play ball with. The only exception to that has been Donald Trump, but that's because Donald Trump has proven that he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
But Donald Trump has gone on record as saying that one day he was going to run for president and show just how stupid politics is and how much of a game politics is. And he was going to win.
Because he's a businessman.
And he did exactly that.
Exactly. He's a businessman, and he understands that the politics is not for the sake of the people. The politics is business. America is a big business. America is a corporation. We are no longer a republic or a democratic republic or whatever it is that people thinks that we are. We are a corporation. That is it. The president,
Kanye for president.
The president is acting CEO, but there's a board. There's a board that can pick him up and remove him and replace him as soon as they want to. The United States is business. Everything's fucking business.
Yeezy for president.
Hell no. When that first started up after Donald Trump won the first time, I was with it. I was like, if Donald Trump can go and be president, then fuck it. Let's go ahead and vote for Kanye. Of
course not. Really?
Let's go ahead and vote for Kanye.
No.
Sure.
I'd vote 50 Cent for president before I vote Kanye for president.
I would also vote 50 Cent for president. But I think 50 Cent will make a great president.
100%.
That would be Power's best season ever. If 50 Cent was president, imagine 50 Cent doing Power in the White House.
In the White House.
Yeah. It would be like House of Cards, except the president is gangster. Like, he's out here like capping niggas in the Oval Office.
I got shot 9 times.
Yeah, like, that would be fire. 50 Cent, if you're listening, let's work on that. Me and you can work on it together. Yeah. It could be like 50 Scandal, Cent for president. Except Ghost comes back and is smoking niggas.
And Tommy Egan is head of security for the Secret Service.
Yeah, come on, let's do something. Let's do something. We got to get in touch with 50 Cent's people and figure out how to make something like that work. But I would definitely vote 50 Cent for president.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that'd be fire.
But wrapping up this shit, because I think we could talk about politics, religion, all this shit for hours. 2-minute warning.
Yeah, so
what's on your mind?
I just kind of coming off of the political talk. I found myself wondering the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So when we play Call of Duty, normally it's like the Russians, or we're trying to stop the evil Russians, or we're trying to stop the evil Germans and shit like that.
Yeah.
I thought about it the other day, and Call of Duty is an international release.
Yeah.
So when Call of Duty releases in Germany, I'm sure that they're not fighting against the Germans. That would be nuts.
Well, do you think? I mean, that's something we would have to look into.
Yeah, I would like
But
to.
I think
It's the
know, same game.
Like, who's the bad guy in the Call of Duty games that release in Germany or in Russia? Is it the United States?
That would be interesting to know, right? Because we all know that Japan and China have their own versions of a lot of the games that we release here in the States. So it'd be interesting to know. Can we get in touch with somebody in Germany? We don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to find out, man.
I would like to know. Let's call some Germans.
Yeah.
See if we can get some Germans. Let's find a Nazi.
Let's find out.
Let's find a Nazi.
I think for professional reasons and for career reasons, I would prefer we stay away from that.
Well, I'm a little bit Jewish, so I say it's okay.
And on that note, we're leaving that there, and we'll move on to my 2-minute warning. So I had a thought, right? If Apple were to create a car, which was like talks for a while, but if Apple created a car, would it have windows? Or would Microsoft fight them for a patent because they had windows in their car?
I don't think that they would call them windows. Actually,
they'd call them eye spectacles or eye view.
They would call them iOS portals.
The portals to another hole.
It's just portals. You know how much fucking money Jeff Bezos has?
He makes millions a minute, supposedly, at this point.
He need to go get some hair plugs. There's no way in the world you should have that much money and be this bald.
I'm just upset that his wife got divorced and got so many millions out of her divorce and donated everything to charity.
She took half of his money and became the richest woman in the world.
And then became the brokest woman in the world by donating all of that shit to charity.
See, and that's what I don't like, because she had all that money. If you wanted to give it away, give it to us.
Yo, for real, right? For real.
Like,
but I mean,
you giving that shit to charity. That charity is not going to do nothing but buy cocaine.
I mean, everybody's time will come. Like, everybody,
You think Feed the Children is really out here feeding the children? No! They're buying cocaine!
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Ant and CJ Show. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe. Leave your comments down below. We'll read them. Like, subscribe, follow us. Check out our IG. Check out our Instagram. Instagram, IG, same shit, right? Check out our TikTok. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Listen to our shit. Watch our shit. Play it on your way to work. Pass it off to a friend. We're throwing QR codes all over our city. Scan them shits. Give us a follow.
Listen to it while you take a shit, while you're in the shower, while you touch yourself and get all soapy. Listen to it. Hear our voices.
Are you advising them to rub themselves in pleasure to our voices?
Yes.
Hey, if you do it, let us know. Put it in the comments below. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Ant and CJ. We're checking out.
Yeah. They said if you say Diddy 3 times in the dark in your bathroom, he come out the mirror and butt fuck you.
Yeah. No Diddy. No Diddy.
Oh, that is super funny.